Web 3.0, the future. As most people are aware, Web 2.0 allows us to interact and collaborate with other users. For example, that could mean sharing the contents of your photo albums on Facebook or working as a team on a wiki website. Web 2.0 gives users another level of control they've never fully exploited before. Of course, a byproduct of all of this interaction and creation of media is millions of terabytes of data being created on a regular basis. One of the main questions to ask is what proportion of this rising tide of data is actually of any value. Well, to answer that question, this data needs to be aggregated in meaningful ways. It's humankind's innate primeval desire to make sense of the world. So this demands that semantics be applied to this vast binary universe. So now the key question is, how do we extrapolate the meaning from this data? Well, enter Web 3.0, dubbed the semantic web. Professor Clay Shirk makes a strong case for Web 3.0 when he says, the amount of media available to the average user is a vastly much larger subset than anything that's ever existed in human history. So we can see from this, the challenge to curate and extrapolate meaning is unprecedented. Ontologies must be used to form data structures so that we can comprehend the data. However, this is just part of the challenge. Epistemological analysis would have to take place in order to grade this data to determine its value. So unless it's done in a meaningful way to the end user, the whole process would have failed. Tim Berners-Lee talks at the TED event in 2009 shed more light on the untapped resources that Web 3.0 can use to enrich users' lives and knowledge. He suggests organizations and individuals should put their data online. This data, for example, could be our connections with people, our local knowledge of a unique shop or building. In essence, this is social media that goes beyond friends and groups. This is for everyone connected to the internet. Organizations hold enormous amounts of data about the way we live. He suggests all these different kinds of data can be brought together in a meaningful way, revealing new ideas and creating better understanding of the world. He explains this in the following extract. The idea of linked data is that we get lots and lots and lots of these boxes, and we get lots and lots of things sprouting. It's not just a whole lot of other plants. It's not just a root supplying a plant, but for each of these plants, wherever it is, a presentation analysis, somebody's looking for patterns in this data. They get to look at the data and they get it connected together. And the really important thing about data is the more things you have to connect together, the more powerful it is. So it's clear this notion of linked data goes way beyond what Google does now. Enormous amounts of data is being made available for the first time by organizations. This will have a huge ideological impact, not only for those connected to the internet, but even to those who are not. I believe this wealth of knowledge, contextualized by the semantic web, will spawn new creative ways to help developing nations. Consumers will have even more power in their hands. This will lead to manufacturers taking more of an interest in the developing world. Mobile and wearable Web 3.0. Wearable Web 3.0 will inhabit Google Glasses. Augmented reality will play center stage in Google's controversial device. On wearing the glasses, the world becomes layered with data. From finding tourist attractions to discovering the best place to eat in your current location, even language barriers will seem less daunting with a translation feature. This all seems like great news for the user, but there is some hostility towards Google Glasses because of its video and picture features. The main reason for this hostility is that some people feel they will be photographed or videoed without their knowledge. A bar in Seattle went as far as banning Google Glasses and posted an image on their Facebook page. It certainly stirred up some mixed feelings among the public. There were some who saw Google Glasses as something the Bluetooth headset brigade would wear. However, a valid point was made that Google Glasses has the same features of many smartphones. Therefore, it's possible that this ban was more of a publicity stunt. However, I do believe there is a case for restrictions in toilets and changing rooms and places where you would expect a high level of privacy. As with any technology, it has to be used responsibly. And there does need to be a level of caution as Google enters even deeper into our personal spaces. Web 3.0 is not just making sense of data already on the internet, it's also constantly gathering personal data about the user. Web 3.0 search and data retrieval will not all pass through the omnipresent Google via its search box. Apps will play more of a role in bringing the information that we want to our screens. However, I don't envisage our personal search data only living on the device we do our searches from. The seamless transition from one device or platform while our searches are remembered is so convenient that I don't feel we will turn against Web 3.0 as it gathers more and more information about our lives. My current experience with Web 3.0 is my digital assistant on my phone. She carries out tasks like reading my text messages and telling me the best restaurants in my current location, briefing me on the day's news and events, reminding me of appointments, and engaging in general conversation. What is fascinating though is that the assistant won't answer questions deemed inappropriate. Now, the serious point of this is who decides what is inappropriate when you're asking a piece of software a question. The semantic web knows and can deliver the answer, but the developer of the software decides I should not receive it. Instead, my digital assistant chastises me for asking a question. So it makes me wonder, could this be the precursor to Web 4.0, the judgmental web? On a serious note, I think this could have wide-reaching implications. If we are restricted from getting an answer because an organization decides a question is not appropriate, despite the answer being in the public domain, we must ask, whose values are we being judged by? And the semantic web is giving us meaning, but who is deciding meaning? And who is deciding what does and doesn't have value?